All right, what we're going to be doing here is going through the Unit 1 just to see if you know how to do the things that are on here. The first one that I'd like to show you is how to classify numbers. A natural number or a counting number is like 1 or 2 and so on. A whole number is all of those plus the number 0. Irrational means that it cannot be written as a fraction. So an example of that would be like the square root of 2 or pi or e or something like that. A rational can be written as a fraction, which is what this one is. But remember, a rational number also includes a decimal because that's the same as a fraction. An integer can be a positive or a negative whole number, so it'd be -1, 0, 1, and so on. And then the imaginary numbers include the square roots of negative numbers, like -6 or something like that. Okay. Next one, it says record this as a remainder and quotient. This is a very popular one that people get wrong if they don't use the Casio calculator. 284, and then we want to use the red, so alpha divide by with the remainder 17, and you get 16 remainder 12. Now if you do it the other way, 284 divided by 17, you're going to get a whole number and a fraction. So subtract the whole number part from that answer, which was 16, and then you get a decimal. So then you multiply that by what you divided by, 17, and you get the remainder that you had. Okay, change to scientific notation. So we would do 0.0000354 equals, and then it says 3.454 times 10 to the -6th. Now this one, it says round to the nearest thousandth. Okay, so you have to go by places. This one is the tenths place, hundredths, thousandths. So you box the number that you're rounding to, look at the number after it. Since it's bigger than 5, you change the number inside the box, write everything in front of it the same, and then you don't write anything after it. Perform the operation. If you see the word than, remember that means to switch the order. So we're going to start with the second one, 31.9. More than means plus, and then use the negative key, 27.5. If you notice, you're going to get a decimal answer because it is slightly larger than 0. Find less than. Once again, since it's got the than, that's a switch order word. So we're going to start with a second number, 58.3. Less means subtract, and -0.4. And if you notice, you get a little bit larger number because subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. Most popular one that people get wrong is they just don't make their calculator look like what the problem looks like. I just repeated it 2 different ways here, so let's pay attention to the second one. 5 plus parentheses 9 minus 4 squared times 6 close parentheses, and then I have to go down to get the over. 2 times 3 minus 5 squared plus 5 times 4. Make sure your problem looks exactly on your calculator like it looks here, and you should get the right answer. This is a very popular one for people to get wrong. Next one. Your Casio calculator is ideally set up for this kind of problem. Okay? So you would do 10 alpha x squared plus alpha x alpha y minus alpha z. Where's z? Oh, looks like we're going to have to use m because there is no z. So just remember that we're going to use the letter m instead of the last one. Okay, so now we do calculate, and it'll ask us, what do you want x to be? Well, we want x to be -7. Press equals. What do you want y to be? We want y to be 2. And what do you want m, which is z, to be? And we want that to be 5. And we get 471. The other way to do it is to just put it on your calculator the way it is. 10 times -7. So we're going to do -7 to the squared. Notice I had to put it in parentheses, otherwise it would have taken the opposite of 7 squared. I think this is where people go wrong if they don't use the algebra function on their calculator. Plus -7 times y, which is 2, minus, and then z is 5. And you still get the 471. Okay, find the hours worked. Okay, so this is maybe time to use our calculator. Find the hours worked. We know that we have 584.96 is the rate per hour, 16.02 per hour, times the number of hours. Okay, so we're just going to have to divide both sides by 16.02, and that'll make this a 1 on this side. And so on our calculator we would press 584.96 divided by 16.02, and we get 36.5 hours. Okay. This one is a popular one for people to get wrong because they don't pay attention to the fact that a ratio has to have the same terms on both sides. So you have to change this feet into you have to change the feet into inches. So we're going to take 12 feet times 12 inches per foot, and we get 32 to, or over 144, because 12 times 12 is 144. So on our calculator we would press 32 fraction 144 equals, and our ratio is 2 to 9. Next one, cross multiply and divide. So we take 13.1 times 17.31 divided by 12, and we get 1890, I guess you would say. Convert to a decimal. This was in the book, but when you go from decimal to percent, D to P, decimal to percent, you move the decimal point 2 places that direction. So 2 places, and you get 5.43. Next one, 84.1 is 199.5% of what number? Okay, you have to set it up right. Okay, so we're looking for what number, and that's 100%. 199.5 is what we're given, and that's 84.1. So cross multiply and divide. So we, on our calculator, we would press 84.1 times 100 divided by 199.5, and we get 42.2. Okay, next one. So we set it up. We have total surveys and those returned. Well, it says 15 were returned. That was 37% of the total, which was 100. So we're going to cross multiply and divide. So we take 15 times 100 divided by 37, and we get, now we're supposed to round to the nearest whole number, so we would say 41. I would accept 40 also. Okay, next one. Now, some people make this a lot more complicated than it needs to be. All of the information up on top is already found in the chart here. I had already filled in stuff for you. So on this side of the dark line, we're going to take this number, subtract this because it says less, and subtract this. Okay, so we get 2971.10 minus 45 minus 244.86, and we get 2681.24. That number has to be the same as what we get over here. Well, over on this side, it says take 2,000, add that, subtract this, this, and this. So, on our calculator, we're going to take 2000.04 minus 921.25, I'm sorry, plus, add. So plus 921.25 minus 72.47 minus 60.96 minus 106.62 is 2681.24. So we have the same number on each side. Next, in a local election, 5,704 people voted in this election. This was an increase over last election. So what we need to do is to write down our information. In a problem in which they have the old and the new, it's always based on the old. Okay? And the new is 5,370 people. That's an increase of 7%. Since this is 100%, increase 7 makes this 107. So now we're going to cross multiply and divide. So we get 5370 times 100 divided by 107 is 5019, because you want to round it to the nearest whole number, which makes sense because fewer people voted in last election. Next one, on November 18th, Judy Chan borrowed $14,500 from her Aunt Jan. If Judy agreed to pay 3.9% simple interest, calculate the dollar amount of interest she must pay if the loan is for 46 months. So we need to fill in our interest equals principal times rate times time. Okay, so principal is $14,500 times rate 0.039 times time, oops, I'll use the X for times, 46/12, because time is always in years. Rate is always a decimal. Principal is always dollars. So on our calculator, we would press 14,500 times 0.039 times fraction. Oops, what happened there? Times fraction 46/12, and we get 2,167.75. 2,167.75. But remember, we don't want how much interest. Oh, okay, we do want the dollar amount of interest. I thought we needed to know the total amount that she paid back. So 2667.75 is our answer. Next one. Okay. A TV is originally priced. Okay, so markdown is always based on the original price, which is the 100%. It was originally marked at $698.36. It's marked down $614.88. This is the down. Be careful, because we want to eventually know what is the mark down. Not the dollars, but the percent, markdown percent. Okay, so since we're looking for this number here, we're going to cross multiply and divide. 61488 times 100 divided by 698.36 is 88%. Okay, so this is 88%. The amount that it's down is 88%. Since we had 100%, that's 88% the new price, the old price, the new price, plus the markdown percent, which is 12, right? So if you wrote 88, I'd give you half credit, but really they want to know the percent markdown. This next one, be careful. Actually, I think the actual test has markup based on selling price. This one says markup based on cost. Okay, I'm going to do it two ways just to show you that you get a different answer whether it's markup based on cost. Okay, so if it's based on cost, like it says here, then we would do it this way. The cost is the bottom, that's 100%. The selling price is $271.55. She wants a 42% markup, so 100 plus 42 is 142. How much should she pay for the chair? So if we do this problem, we would get 271.55 times 100 divided by 142 is 191.23. Let's change it though. Let's say it's based on not cost but selling price. Okay? If it's based on selling price, then S is the bottom. Okay? Remember, cost plus markup is selling price. That always holds whether you're going this way or this way. That always holds. In this case, though, she figures she can sell it for $271.55. We want to know the cost if it's a 42% markup. This is a percent of the unknown number because over here it was 142. But remember, cost plus markup is selling price. So this number is 100. This number is 42. In this case, this number is 58 because 58 plus 42 is 100. So now we're going to multiply by 58 instead. So 271.55 times 58 divided by 100 is 157.50. So I want you to notice those two numbers are different, and it's based on whether it says markup on cost or markup on selling price. So the most important thing that you should pay attention to is what it says when it talks about what kind of problem you've got. Give the exponent of 10. These are pretty easy. Remember, if you have a number to a power, you multiply exponent, so you get 10 to the 2 times negative 12, which is, 2 times negative 12, or negative 6, which is negative 12. Next one, it gives you the formula. Don't be thinking, oh, this is such a hard problem. Just type it exactly what it says there. 2, 3, 2, 5, 0, 0, 0. E, which if you notice is mustard, so it's shift. E to the 0.2, and then in the problem here it says what T is. Find the population after 3 years, so times 3, because it's 3 years, and you get 592,188, or 592,189, because it's rounded up. They just want it to the nearest 1,000 anyway. Next one, same kind of a thing, you guys. Do the problem exactly the way it's listed there. So we take 640 e to the, now you don't notice you don't need the times e because your calculator will automatically do it. Make sure you put in the negative sign. That's what people do wrong on this one. Negative 0.25. Exponential decay, you always have a negative sign there, and then it's 2 years, so times 2, and you get 388. In decay, your number is going to get smaller, so if you start with 644, you're down to 388. Hey gang, that's the problem, so if you have any questions, make sure you ask me. Otherwise, I think you should be ready to either test or retest, but don't get bothered by stuff, okay?